Hey guys, this is gonna be KDnuni casting a game between the Red Protoss player named invoKed, which is actually me. I'm just testing out a new game, and versus the Blue Zerg named Logic. Now this is actually a game on the PTR public test realm for Blizzard, which tests patch 1.2. Now me and Logic are we know each other. Now we were just gonna test out a couple of league matches on the PTR, and our first game we actually got each other somehow, so we're actually pretty surprised. That's why in the chat right there, as you can see, we're just joking around. So this is actually a map on gonna be a game on Scrap Station. Me spawning on the north corner and Logic gonna be spawning on the east corner of the map. Now see, he is sending out his overlord right now, and nothing much happening right now. I'm still working on audio, so bear with me on this. I'm just getting my panel at 9 supplies, seeing out the scouting probe. And I'm actually recording this separately from the video, so my synchronization actually is really good since I kind of messed up the audio part a little bit. But I'm going to try and get it fixed now. Just there, Crony was a couple. Yep, their scouting overlord coming out. Now it's really important for Zergs to actually send out their scouting overlord on Scrap Station across the map, since it's actually a relatively short air rush distance. And you need to be able to get that initial scouting information so you know what build to go against. And then my probe's just going to be patrolling around the Zerg base, checking what tech he's going to go, what timing of his spawning pool. He's setting his drone also. It's a lot common for Zerg players to now send out their drones so they have better mobility than the Overlord. And the Overlord is just there to actually keep a stationary scouting position, to know when your enemy moves out. Now, Logic is getting a spawning pool at 12 supply. It's actually relatively early and doesn't really suggest an economic build, but since me and Logic do know each other, we actually know a little bit about each other's playstyle, so I know he's eventually going to get hatchery, so I am going to be sending a probe out to his natural expansion to be able to keep an eye on it. And that's actually really good for Zerg players to keep, because they do have that destructible rocks to be able to protect that natural expansion from early attacks. Now he is sending his drone right now. I am positioning my probe so that he's unable to build a hatchery right there. I'm going a pretty standard build, 1 gateway, 16 pylon. As you see, I just blocked it, and I'm going to be attacking a little bit, harassing, chasing it around. I'm getting a cybernetics core at 16 supply. I build a pylon right there, so he's delaying his expansion, forcing him to go not much of an economic build, more a little bit aggressive. He is going to be forced to make a couple of Zerglings to kill off that pylon. He is getting a early Roach Warren out. This actually suggests a bit of a one base Roach play. His gas is actually a little bit late. He wasn't gonna get speed links, gonna go for that expansion, but I did delay it, so now he's gonna have to force to get his gas up. What Logic got to do is to move his overlord. What players actually should do is move it to the back end of the map, or to the side somewhere, or up there. But not just keep it stationary. Since I do realize this, I am going to go chrono boost at Starcraft to be able to deal with it and force him to lose 100 minerals and be supply blocked. Now there he is going to start breaking down that pylon to be able to get up his natural expansion up. He did save up quite a bit of minerals, so he is relatively behind in terms of economy. I'm getting out warp gate technology now, and there's a stalker coming out, and my second gas at around 20 supply, or 21 supply. Now I usually goes for some kind of usually go for 2 gateways before I actually tech up into anything like a robotics bay. But since this is patch 1.2, with the recent Phoenix buff, I'm going to be building out a Stargate to test out this 2 gateway, 1 Stargate build. Now he hasn't produced anything, he's still supply blocked, so he's forced to get out an overlord soon. I am, in terms of harvesters, I am outnumbering him. And when you're going for a macro build like this, you usually want to Zerg up and be able to build static defenses to defend off any rushes. And when your Zerg players drone up, they can get out of hand. But as of now, he is not droning up, so I am better than him in terms of economy. Now I am getting up the Stargate, and I'm going to be using it to get out a lot of Phoenixes, which have reduced time to build time around 35 seconds. And 1 chrono boost is actually able to chrono boost out 1 single Phoenix. So now Phoenix is going to be a lot more effective. They are able to mass up a lot easier. And what Protoss players have to do was get 2 Stargates in order to be able to get a good number of Phoenixes out. But now only 1 Stargate is needed, since 1 base play only has enough resources for that amount of Stargates. The logic is almost gonna get expansion up. It's almost completed. We should be able to see some transferring drones soon. Yes, that first Phoenix gonna be coming out. Yeah, there are those transferring drones right now. His army size is relatively small. No lair tech yet. Should be focusing on drone off, but I'm still outnumbering him. 23 harvesters to 17. But that 2 base is actually gonna help him a little bit. They're actually right now. Okay. So I'm getting a pylon out. Gateway technology coming out. Still corner-busting phoenixes out. I was planning to get about 3 phoenixes before I set them out to harass. Now it's just like Starcraft 1 where Protoss players would go for Corsairs and kill off Overlords, and now phoenixes are able to do sort of the same thing and be able to supply block the Zerg player and make him unable to drone up. You do need that 2 gas to be able to support this build, and you should get a forge up and to build a cannon, since if you're going for some kind of air build, you're gonna lack the amount of ground forces to be able to fend up any kind of roach or zergling push. So it's good to put up a couple of cannons somewhere to be able to fend it off a little bit easier. And with good force field play, you should be fine. Now I'm sending out 3 phoenixes right now just to be able to scout out, picking off any stray overlords I see. There's one. He does. The only anti-hero right now is 2 queens, I believe. He did not produce anymore. Usually in pro level games right now, you usually see Zerg players get 3 queens out to be able to fend off any kind of weird Banshee rush, or I guess now Phoenix rush. But Phoenixes are actually pretty robust. They do have 120 HP and 60 shields, so they can be able to defend their own against these Phoenixes pretty well. And as you can see, Logic is right now supply blocked, so he's forced to get off a lot of overlords to unsupply block them. 4 Phoenixes coming back out. I do wait quite a bit before I start to engage these queens, since 2 queens is actually low, especially with that transfuse. But I am able to find excuse me, a couple of stray overlords and pick them off and heavily supply block Logic. And it's pretty easy to micro phoenixes since they are able to move and attack at the same time. There we go. See, none of the phoenixes died yet. One did get softened up, but that's okay since shields do regenerate. Now he did get an evolution chamber up, so he's now able to build spore crawlers to be able to defend his base better. Now I'm getting out that 5th phoenix. I was slowly building gateway units the entire time, heavy zealots, since I did have a couple of extra minerals, but I should have made, I guess, a couple of sentries to be able to build a lot of force fields to be able to fend off any push he might have done. His natural expansion still is not fully saturated yet, which is pretty bad since Berserk players need to be able to get a lot of saturation on that 2nd expansion, or at least an equivalent amount compared to the 1st base, since 2 base Zerg play with an equivalent amount of drones will be a lot economically efficient than just 1 base play with just like a couple of drones on the 2nd expansion. So you need to be able to keep that those drone numbers equal on all expansions. Excuse me. Now I'm gonna be getting out a Void Ray to be able to deal with any more ground forces on his base and be able to better harass, especially when those phoenixes can pick up those queens and immobilize them. So that kind of thing is a lot easier now. I am reinforcing my front door with a couple of pylons and a couple of photon cannons, just in case he decides to do any kind of roach push, which I actually saw he has quite a few numbers. But I do have enough zealots and sentries to be able to fend that off well. There's the harvesters. Logic has finally overcome me, about 30 to 27 right now. But Zerg players should have lots more, about 20 for each base. So she should right now around have a 40 to 45 drones to be able to be good. And I am starting to harass. Those queens do come. I misclick a little bit, but I am able to pick up all 3 queens. And as that Void Ray is charging up on those queens, they are able to do a lot of damage. Especially Phoenix killing off 1, easily killing off the 2nd one, and just gonna pick up the 3rd one to finish it off. Right now I actually could have finished off this game, but I did not know since his lair tech was up, so I thought he was hiding his Hydra stun somewhere. So I thought Hydra's coming out was actually inevitable, so I just started to attack the lair and able to slow down any production he had. He actually just started to get his Hydra out now, and it's coming up with overlords around his spore crawlers, so there won't be any picked up by any phoenixes. But as you can see, pumped up overlords make it so Zerg players cannot keep scouting overlords around base, and they aren't able to get enough information. Now Logic is actually going to be pushing in with all roaches, trying to make a one push just to finish the game early. But I do have enough, but I wasn't paying attention at this time trying to micro those void rays, but he actually does get up. I did not get any force shields, which is actually completely my fault. So, picking up a bunch of phoenixes, just able to immobilize a lot of roaches. We can, so my stalkers can shoot them down. This push should be easy to put off. I'm warping up a couple more zealots. A void ray comes out, and this push is now just done, completely worthless. He actually did a lot of damage in terms of army. Actually, there's a 5 counts ahead, but yeah, I am transferring a bunch of probes now to my national expansion. He did rally more roaches here, but my phoenix will be able to chase them away. I do have a lot of excess energy on this. A couple of details about this. We're not very pro level gamers. We're both diamond level, but relatively low. I am about 900 points, and he's about 300. So this isn't really anything pro level. So just a couple of casual guys testing out on the public test realm. I do have 2 void rays, and as you see here, my macro actually slipped up quite a bit. I was only actually producing off of 2 gateways the entire time. I have 900 minerals. I actually should have produced actually 4 more gateways in order to compensate for the loss of macro, but I guess I wasn't really thinking, since a little bit scared since it was my final space. I have no gas building on this natural expansion, but I should be able to get that up soon. But this entire time I was actually focusing on this harass of phoenixes and void rays. Now Logic is spreading his creep relatively well. Zerg really needs this creep in order to make use of effective Hydra plays, since they're really slow off creep and practically worthless. I'm getting that 1 attack upgrade out right now, so that should help my ground forces up a bit later. Continue to harass. I did notice the amount of Hydra, so I do back off, since that's not enough to kill it. Maybe if I did graviton beam a lot of Hydras, but that wouldn't be very efficient and might result in a lot of lost phoenixes and void rays.